April 18th, 2011, I was crossing the street to go home from being out with a friend. We were watching the hockey game. It was like 2 in the morning, and I'd gone ahead to grab a cab because she had a walking cast on. And I don't remember much, but I just remember like going across and I saw this bus and it was parked, and I said, okay, well, I can go or whatever. And the next thing I know, I'm flying through the air, and she hit me hard enough that I went from one crosswalk to the other. And my friend came up and she's freaking out, and I'm going, stop, stop. And she's like, what? I'm like, are my legs moving? And she's like, what? I'm like, are my legs moving? And she's, no. And I said, okay, now you can freak out. What had happened was she hit me in my neck and I broke it in 3 places, and it damaged my spinal cord. All I could do when I woke up was move my arms up and down. Everything else was completely paralyzed, and I had over 200 stitches in my head and down the back of my neck, and they took bone from my hip and fused my vertebrae together, my C5 and C6, I believe, and they put a rod and 2 plates and a couple screws in my neck, and yeah, when I woke up, I thought it was a bad dream. I wouldn't open my eyes, and then I did, and I see my mom on one side, and I see my dad on the other, and my mom lives in Pitt Meadows, and my dad lives in Terrace, BC, so that's like 17 hours away, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, oh crap, it must be really bad if you two are in the same room over me, like this can't be good. At one point in the ER though, I had said to her, she's like, it's gonna be okay, and they wanted to take me into surgery, and I kept saying, I can't feel my legs, I can't feel them, and she's like, it's okay, and I said, Mom, you have to kill me. Like, I can't deal with not being able to walk, being able to walk for 22 years and never again, and all she said was, you know, we'll deal with it in the morning. And the doctor, my sleep was really screwed up at that point. Like I was in pain, I couldn't sleep, I could sleep, it was off and on every couple hours, and he wakes me up at 6:30 in the morning after I had maybe an hour of sleep, and I was cranky, and he's like, okay, so, you know, are you feeling this, are you feeling that? And I said, no. Any movement? No. And he said, okay, you need to accept this. And I just told him to get out. I was like, no, go away. My dad's like, Chelsea, be nice. I said, no, you don't know. You can't possibly know, and I am not going to listen to you. I wanted to sing, and musical theater was a huge part. It was a running, not a joke, but a running plan with my friend Ryan that we were just gonna up and leave to New York. We don't care if we had to live in a studio apartment and starve. We were gonna go to New York, and we were gonna do what we had to be on Broadway. And then when I got hurt, that was the main thing. I said, well, I guess I can't do this anymore. And when they did my operation, they had to go through the front of my neck, and they had to move my vocal cords around, and they had to do a lot of front fixing of like the vertebrae. And my Nana, who is the whole reason I love singing, I grew up watching her on stage singing and acting. She asked the doctor, she said, you know, she's a singer, like her lungs are strong, she'll get it back, can she sing? And the doctor looked at her and said, I will be lucky if I ever speak again. Don't expect to sing. And the first couple months I would try, and I would go off into a corner of GF Strong, and I would try singing some of the songs, and it was horrifying. Like, it was so bad, and I had never sounded bad in my life. Like, I'm not record deal good, but I have a good voice, and I have fun with it. And I just worked at it. I was like, that is the one thing I will get back, is if I can sing. I will work on walking, and I will work on singing, and it was just, yeah, that was heartbreaking. It was an amazing feeling. I joke because my nephew was learning how to walk at the same time, and so I was like, it's a race now. Come on, kid, like, let's go. And I cried. I had to go back in my wheelchair because that was the deal, and it was fine because it was really tiring. I took 2 trips across the gym, and I was sweating, but I walked. I did it. Like, I win. Alan's deal was, you come back, I will carry you across the stage if I have to, but we will take you back. And Alan Lifestyle had said, we'll set up a different time for you to come in and audition, because when you're a second year in the theater program, you have to come in and audition for the directors to get your parts and the plays that you will be in. And the best part was calling him and saying, you're not going to have to carry me, and I can make it to the actual audition with everybody else. And he was silent on the phone, and it was just the best phone call that I got to make. That was one of my favorites. My dreams are still acting and singing and being involved in the art community, but they've kind of adapted to my new lifestyle, which is I really want to start a not-for-profit theater company, and I want to do a play where you always have one main character with a disability. Whether it's, what I really wanted to do for the first one was take something like The Scarlet Letter, and instead of it being about adultery, I want the letter to be D, to talk about disability and how a person's life is, you basically feel, and I feel sometimes, that I'm wearing this giant D around my neck. What I also really want to do is I want to go back to GF Strong as one of the counselors, and I want to be able to work with people that are in my situation, and because I get it, I see the looks on their faces when I go back for checkups or something, and I go, I know exactly where you are with that. I know exactly what you're feeling when you give me that look, and you're either angry at your physio, or you're angry at life, or you're angry because you can't feel anything, and you're young or you're old, and you're thinking, great, I have to depend on somebody forever now. And I just want them to know, I get it. I know how you're feeling, and there are ways to deal with this. So the one thing that I'm adamant about, regardless of what they tell you, you know your body. You know what you're capable of, and if you're willing to push it, you will get farther than anybody thought you would. Each morning I get up, I die a little, can barely stand on my feet. Take a look in the mirror and cry, Lord, what you doing to me? I've spent all my years in believing you, and I just can't get no release. Lord, somebody, can anybody find me somebody to love?